Welcome back. You are tuned in to Trader Station. My pleasure to have with us here today book author Bob Delaney. He wrote Covert, My Years Infiltrating the Mob. Bob, welcome to Trader Nation. How are you today?
Good, Kurt. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Bob, when you started your law enforcement career, did you have any idea that you would end up infiltrating the mob?
No. When I joined the state police in 1973, I envisioned myself as a uniformed trooper as I graduated from the academy. That organization was founded in 1921. It's steeped in real military-style traditions. Sure. It was founded by Colonel Schwarzkopf, the father of General Schwarzkopf. And I was contacted in 1975 by a Detective Sergeant First Class Jack Liddy. And Jack was assigned to division headquarters. It wasn't unusual for someone from division headquarters to call a uniformed trooper. We had a chain of command. So, I grew up Irish Catholic. That means I wake up guilty in the morning. So I was nervous that I did something wrong. I thought I was in trouble when he contacted me.
Sure.
And we had a few meetings, and he asked if I was interested in doing undercover work. I said yes. He told me if I spoke to anyone about it that I would be out of the running. We went on for a few weeks, months, having other meetings, and then he explained to me what the job was going to be.
Right.
The FBI, New Jersey State Police, and the President's Organized Crime Task Force were going to join forces to open a trucking company in New Jersey on the waterfront. Yeah. And we did just that. Myself, another trooper, and 3 FBI agents started a small trucking company called Mid-Atlantic Air Sea Transportation. Yeah. The grant was written for 6 months. I guess we had an aggressive attitude that we were going to end organized crime in 6 months in New Jersey, but
right. Yeah,
we learned very early on that wasn't going to happen.
Bob, how did he pick you? I mean, did you ask him? Did you finally find out why? I mean, here you are, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, you thought you were going to be in trouble, but you got picked for an assignment. Did you ultimately find out how he picked you?
I think it was that I was young. I had not taken on a lot of police ways, as well as that I was aggressive. In my uniform days with making arrests.
Sure.
I also grew up in the city. I grew up in the city of Patterson, so I had a city background, and I worked construction before, so I knew the ways of unions.
Yeah.
So I think that all of those adding up were the reasons.
All right, so Bob, after he asked you, did you have to think long and hard about it, or was it a quick decision for you, or did you really have to go through? I mean, you had to have gone through every scenario possible. Do I want to do this? Do I not?
Now, I think that the enthusiasm of youth, every cop will tell you that the reason that they raise their hand to enforce the laws, that they feel they can make a difference in their community and their country. And for me, it was a way of, I was excited about it. At 22 years old, I was gung-ho and ready to go.
All right, that's amazing. So he didn't even finish. You had your hand up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Very good, Kurt. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's absolutely fantastic. And again, in your youth, you have that enthusiasm, and hopefully we'll find out if it paid off for you. Now, let's talk about some of the psychological challenges that you had to have faced in that 3-year period, and it was called Project Alpha, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was called Project Alpha. Was the code name. It was technically known as the New Jersey Joint Intelligence Operation.
Yeah.
As we started out, as I said, the smaller trucking company, we got lucky in the investigation, like most investigations. A guy by the name of Patrick John Kelly was a consigliere with the DiNorzio crew of the Bruno crime family, and he was jammed up. He was either going to go to jail or become an informant. He chose to become an informant.
Yeah.
He came to work with us. We moved in and started a larger trucking company. He came on board. I was made to be the president of that company. He was the vice president. The other undercover operatives played roles as either my driver or roles in the company. And we also gained 2 new partners, the Genovese and Bruno crime family, through Pat's connections.
Yeah.
We were paying back 25% of our profits, 12.5% to each family.
Right. How does that work? You set up a business, you set up a front. Do you go to them, or do they come to you, or how does that work? I mean, for crying out loud.
Yeah, they through Pat's connections, they knew about the trucking company.
Yeah.
It was kind of a marriage that takes place.
Sure.
And for the kickback of the 25%, they're opening up labor peace. They're making sure that they tell you that your trucks will never be hijacked.
Right.
They're going to get you. Your trucks are going to move quicker on the port because of their connections in the union, and they're also going to open up contracts.
Right.
The other thing that they did for us, they made us house trucker of other companies that they had control over. So, there was a level of feeling like you were connected, and getting preferential treatment for that kickback. Now, I say to people that had that stayed consistent They'd want cars for themselves or their girlfriends. They'd want, I would get bills for refrigeration systems that were put in their homes.
Right.
I would get phone bills that they were third party to our company, as well as even a guy in prison had gotten a way to get a phone into his cell, and he was third-partying all the calls to our business. Now, for a legitimate businessman, that's a drain on his business. For us, it was great intelligence.
Yeah. Now, Bob, if it wasn't for the title of your book, My Years Infiltrating the Mob, I thought for sure you were talking about Congress, Bob. Right?
Well, my name, Covert, as you said, Covert was not a terminology real popular back in the 70s for undercover operations. It was narcs or street agents. Right. I took on the identity of Robert Allen Covert, a child who died at birth, and I became Bobby Covert. So that's how we got to the title Covert, My Years Infiltrating the Mob.
All right, double meeting. Coming off the assignment, how'd you adjust back to normal life? Because, listen, when you're playing, what was it, 3 years, I think you're on Project Alpha. How do you come back to who you really are?
Yeah, that's a difficult thing, Kurt. It's an emotional roller coaster ride. You know, cops like to think of themselves as able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Right. I was good at doing undercover work. We're all good at doing something. I would get 2 miles down the road after meeting with the wise guys and have to pull over and throw my guts up, or find the first gas station I could find because I had diarrhea. Right. I didn't tell anybody that. Those repressing those kinds of fear emotions is not healthy. And over the course of the years, there were a lot of buildup of that kind of emotional repression. Yeah. When I surfaced, I was going through problems.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine put me together with a psychologist who was doing work with law enforcement, who happened to be a guy I had as a professor in college, and we started doing informal sessions, and he helped me understand that I was going through the post-traumatic stress disorder, and I've done work with that with law enforcement officers, firemen, emergency service people for the past 30 years, and in fact going this summer to Iraq and Germany to talk to the troops about it.
Nice. Listen, I got family in law enforcement, so I know exactly what you're talking about. So how'd you move from law enforcement into referee? I don't know what's tougher.
And with knowing that I was going through tough times, I wanted to put myself, I was around everything that was bad. I wanted to put myself in some good environment. Yeah. Nothing better to me than a basketball game. I played high school ball, I played college ball. Sure. So I started refereeing ball because on a Friday night, you go to a ball game and the kids are playing and the families are being supportive and the student body's there. I wanted to be part of that because it gave me an inner peace. I was working a game in New Jersey at a high school, and a guy by the name of Larry Hennessy, who ran the Jersey Shore Summer Pro League, asked me to referee there. I did. Yeah. Darryl Garrettson, who was the director of officials at the time for the NBA, happened to be in the stands. He asked me to go to Los Angeles and work in the Summer Pro League. I did. He then hired me into the Continental Basketball Association, and I worked in the minor leagues for 3 years, and then he offered me a position in 1987, and I've been in the NBA ever since.
Right. Okay, so did you, coming off of the law enforcement issue, did you have any concerns being out in the public for your life as a referee, or maybe, I don't know what's worse. I mean, let's face it, fans are pretty tough too. Were you more concerned about the mob or the fans being publicly out on the...
At the conclusion of the investigation, there were death threats on me, and decisions have to be made. And I think that you and your audience will understand what I'm saying as I explain this. In 1978, my personal security level went to orange. In 9/11, after 9/11, we've all been at that level.
Sure.
And if we don't go to a public place, we don't live our lives, we don't get on a plane tomorrow, go to an arena to watch a ball game, Osama bin Laden wins. Right. If I would have sat in a home and hid and not lived my life, then the mob would have won. And that was not an option to me. I am not flip about it. The security that I keep, in our lifestyle, but I don't think I'm any different than any other cop. When people are arrested and they're put away, you have no idea what their reactions are going to be.
Sure.
So I'm an agent of the government. I did nothing wrong. I saw no reason to shy away and not live my life.
Right. All right. So no concerns today, Bob?
No, I mean, I don't think that I'm aware. I will always be aware for my entire life, but like I said, there's no reason to live in fear.
All right, today, book author Bob Delaney, Covert, My Years Infiltrating the Mob is the name of the book. All right, now, Bob, quickly, where can we find it? Barnes & Noble, Amazon?
Barnes & Noble, Amazon. We came out in hardcover in February 2008, and this week it comes out in paperback.